Hello friends, welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to discuss some AWS Cloud interview questions and answers. This is part 3. I have taken these questions from my webpage technicalpage.net. Let's begin. The first question is, what is AWS EC2 instance? EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. It is an AWS compute service. It is a virtual server in the AWS cloud. Customer can run their application in this server using the AWS resources. Customer can rent the EC2 instance when needed and they can remove when their need is fulfilled. And you pay for the amount of time you use the EC2 instance. You can increase the number of instances or decrease the number of instances as per your need. Normally, adding and removing of the instances happens automatically with AWS auto scaling. There are various different kinds of EC2 instances depending on the customer's need. Depending on the nature of the workloads, a customer can choose CPU, memory, storage, networking, and other resources for the instance. Let's move on to question number 2. What is VPC? VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. It is a cloud established by an enterprise on a public cloud environment. It is a private and secure cloud environment. It is isolated from other public access. And in this, the customer can run their code, host websites, store their data, and control the resources. Inside VPC, the resources are connected through private subnet. The outside world connects to the application in VPC through public subnet. If the VPC has to connect with the outside world, it uses the public subnet. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. How many subnets can be created in a VPC? We can create any number of subnets in a VPC, but as the number goes up, the complexity also goes up. So fewer number is recommended. Let's move on to the next question. How do you upgrade or downgrade a service or system with zero or near zero downtime? So in cloud service, the system should always be available. Okay. So the service should not be interrupted. It should be continuous. If you stop and start a new instance, that might cause downtime. So to achieve zero downtime means to maintain the continuous service, launch another instance which should be bigger in size, install the application and all the dependencies, test the new instance, deploy the new instance and replace the old one. Okay. So to upgrade or downgrade a service or system with zero downtime, you need to use another instance, okay, which should be bigger in size. Okay. So with the help of another instance, you can upgrade or downgrade a service or system with zero downtime. Zero downtime means continuous service. There will be no downtime. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. What are the ways or tools to access AWS resources? So there are multiple ways. The most common is AWS Management Console. The another option is through CLI. Another option is AWS SDK, and the other option is PuTTY. AWS CLI means AWS command line. AWS SDK means AWS Software Development Kit. Let me update this. I updated this. Let me refresh the page. So it is AWS command line and AWS Software Development Kit. Okay. So these are the different ways to access AWS resources: AWS Management Console, AWS CLI, AWS SDK, and PuTTY. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. What is DDOS? DDoS is distributed denial of service. It is distributed denial of service. Okay. So it is basically an attack in the system. So it is a cyber attack. Okay. It is a cyber attack in which the attacker controls the resources. Okay. They make the server or resources or network or application unavailable to the intended user. Okay. Normally they send multiple requests to the web server with the intention of exceeding the web server's capacity. Okay. Exceeding the web server's capacity to handle those requests. Okay. Or they might send malicious data. Okay. This is how they attack the server and take control of the resources. Okay. The tools to handle or minimize the DDoS attack are AWS Shield, AWS WAF, this is Web Application Firewall, and so on. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. If your service is not available in the cloud region, what is the solution? Suppose you want to use a AWS service, but that service is not available in the AWS region which you are trying to select. Then in that situation, what could be the solution? Okay, so this is a situation based question. Okay, so the cloud does not have all the services in all the regions. Okay, we have to understand this. Okay, even if you compare two regions within the United States, you might find the difference in the number of services. Okay, cloud provides the services in a region according to the demand. Okay, so if a particular service is not available in your region, then the solution is you choose the nearest cloud region which has that service. Okay, so you have to choose the nearest cloud region which has the service you are looking for. Okay, let's move on to the next question. What is the authorization service in the AWS cloud? The authorization service is identity and access management. This is called IAM. Okay. This is an AWS service to control the access to the AWS services or resources by other persons or applications. Okay. And you use authorization to control the access to the AWS services by other persons or applications. Okay. IAM controls the permission to view, to create, to edit, or to delete the resources by the persons or the applications or the process, whoever needs to work with the respective resources. It ensures that the right user has the appropriate access to the right resources. It ensures that the right user has the right access to the right resources. Okay. Normally what happens? The user is given the amount of access he needs to access any particular resources. Okay. So normally what happens is, let me show you. Normally when you grant access to any user, you apply the principle of least privilege. This principle means when you grant or give access to any user, you give only those access or permissions which is required to complete the given tasks. Okay? And the user is given access to the required resource only. This is called principle of least privilege. Okay? And you do this by creating a policy. Okay? And you attach the policy with the IAM identities. Okay? So IAM identities are users, group or roles. Okay? Which we are going to discuss in next question. Okay? So you create a policy and you attach the policy with the IAM identities as well as AWS resources. Okay. The policy tells who can access the AWS resources, which resource the user can access, and what action the user can perform on the resources. Okay. So all these are controlled by IAM, Identity and Access Management Service. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. What is IAM identities? Okay, so as I already told you, this is related to this question also. Okay, so IAM identities are created to control the access of the users. The users could be person, application or process who are trying to access the AWS resources. The IAM identities could be users, groups or roles. Okay, so these are the IAM identities. Okay, first of all it is root user. Okay, so this is the primary account. Okay, which is created when the user creates a first AWS account using his credentials such as email ID and password. Right, this user has the complete access to all the services and resources in the AWS account. Okay, the complete access to all the services and resources in the AWS account. So this is root user. It is the primary account. Okay. The next ID is user. IAM users could be a person or application or a process. It has the required level of access or permission to any necessary resources, and the access is long term. That means IAM users have long term access to any resources. This is IAM user. Another ID is IAM groups. IAM group is a group of users. Okay, so whatever access the group has, the member of the groups automatically have those access. Okay, so if a user is a member of any particular IAM group, then whatever access this group has, the user will automatically have that access. Okay, so if you need to give permission to a large number of users, okay, you give permission to the group in which the users are connected. So if you need to give permission to a large number of users, then you create a group, you connect or link those users to the group and give the permission to the group so that all the users or the group members get the permission or access automatically from the group. So next ID is IAM role. Okay. It is same like IAM user, but the only difference is the permission will be temporary. Okay. So this is IAM role. Okay. Let's move on to the next question, which is the last question in this video. The question is, what is AWS Trusted Advisor? AWS Trusted Advisor is an AWS tool which helps you provision your resources according to the AWS best practices. It gives you the recommendation to improve your AWS environment, to save your cost, that means to optimize your cost, improve your system or application performance, to improve the availability of the service to the customers, that means to provide continuous service to the customers, and to improve the security of the application or the system or the process. So this is Trusted Advisor, and it gives you recommendation to use your AWS resources in an efficient way. In this video, we covered 10 interview questions and answers for AWS Cloud. That is all in this video. Thank you for watching this video.